Hi, I'm Grace from Gardening for Joy, and in today's video I'm going to talk about making soil blocks. So what is a soil block? A soil block is, as its name implies, it's a compact block of soil in which you plant a seed, and then you take the soil block and you transplant it directly into the garden. Now you make soil blocks by using what's called an ejection mold. Now this is a really simple ejection mold. It makes one soil block. It's a simple 2 inches wide, 2 inches tall, and 2 inches deep. Now, the most important thing about making soil blocks is the mixture that you're going to use. And so let me show you the recipe that I used for my mixture. So over here are the ingredients that I used. The first thing I did was I added 3 quarts of lobster compost. Now, the compost is actually a mixture of peat moss and lobster compost. I added 3 quarts of that to my mixture. On the far left, you'll see perlite. I added 2 quarts of perlite, and the perlite gives the mixture the oxygen and the lightness that it needs for the seedling to develop. And then I added 3 different macronutrients. I added rock phosphate for the phosphorus. I added kelp meal for the potassium, and I added blood meal for the nitrogen. Now let me show you what that all looks like when it's mixed together. So in my bucket here, and a bucket is really a great thing to use because this bucket is measured in quarts. So you can see here, I've got this really lovely mixture with the perlite, which are the white particles in there, and then the dark brown, which is really the peat and the compost. So, as a next step, we're going to add some water to this and we're going to make some soil blocks. Okay, so let's prepare the mixture now by adding water. So again, I have 5 quarts of mixture here, and to that, I estimate that I'm going to need about 1.5 quarts of water, but I'm going to add it kind of a little bit at a time just to make sure that I get the right consistency in the mixture. So I'm going to probably add the full quart to start with. I'm just going to pour it in there. And I truly believe the best way to do the mixing is really with your hands. So I put my gloves on. I'm going to mix it up. You really got to mix it up good here in the bucket because you need everything mixed up and damp with the water. And then the way you're going to tell if it's ready, if it has enough water, is if the soil holds together. So let's see how this is doing. It does take a little bit of time to get it all mixed up correctly. So let me just show you right at this point. It's still not quite holding together. It's still pretty crumbly. So that tells me I have to add some more water to it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to add about another cup of water. Again, best to do it slowly. You can always add, right? It's hard to subtract when you're doing the mixture. Again, you've got to mix it good, and you never ever want to see standing water in your mixture. It's got to be mixed in there really well. Everything's got to be coming together. So you can see I'm spending quite a bit of time mixing this up because it's a soil block, and the most important thing is the mixture. All right, let's take a look at that. It's still not quite wet enough. So I think for this mixture, it looks like I am going to need the full 1.5 quarts of water. So I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of my water in here and do my final mix. Yeah, and it takes a little trial and error to get the mix just right. And what I recommend is, if you're unsure, try making a soil block. If it's not holding together correctly, then you probably need to add more water. If you see standing water in your container, your mixing container, well, then you've added too much water. And you're going to have to add some more of your growing medium to the mix. Okay, this is coming together pretty nicely. I just want to make sure I get all the way down to the bottom. And let me show you what this is going to look like. So much fun playing in the dirt, right? Brings back all of our memories from children. Okay, look at that. That is pretty nice. You can see the consistency. And when it gets into the ejection mold, that should hold together pretty darn nicely. Okay, so let's look at making a soil block. Okay, I'm going to take my gloves off. I'm getting pretty dirty here, but that's all right. All right, so my soil block. Now, when you take your soil block, you're going to take it and you're going to twist it into your mixture, right? Just give it a good twist in because you want it good and compact. Take it out. And then you simply are going to eject it into your tray. Now, you should be able to pick it up like I just did. That means that the consistency of the mixture is pretty good, that it holds the block together. The other thing that I want to tell you is there is a hole in the middle of the block which is going to be used for planting the seed. And that hole comes from the inside of the soil block. So it punctures a little hole into the top of the block, which is really nice. So let's go ahead and make another one. Again, I'm going to put the ejection mold, I'm going to twist it around in here, I'm going to lift it out, I'm going to eject it. Now this is a 10 by 20 inch tray, so I'm going to go 5 across and 10 down. Based on the size, of course, of my ejection mold. There, I've got 3 made. There's my 4th. And there's my 5th. So that's how you make soil blocks. Again, mixture is critical. So I finished making the soil blocks, and you might be curious as to how many soil blocks did 5 quarts make. And so here in front of me, you can see I made 32 soil blocks. So 5 quarts, 32 inch soil blocks. So the next step is going to be to plant the seeds. And the easiest way that I've found to plant seeds is using a legal size envelope folded lengthwise in half, which is what you see here. So I'm going to take my seeds, I'm planting tomato seeds today. I'm going to put them into the crease of the envelope, and then I'm going to plant them into the soil blocks. Now with the soil block, all you need is 1 seed per block. These are fresh seeds from the 2019 season. So I'm hoping you can see my seeds inside the envelope. I use a toothpick, and then I just gently guide 1 seed per block. This is super easy. I used to pour the seeds in my hand and try to pick them up and put them in here, and that was super hard. And that's probably why I really appreciate this method of planting seeds. So there I've planted 1 seed per block. The other thing that I like to do, here in front of me, I have a substance called vermiculite. And I top my soil blocks. I don't actually fill in the little hole with any additional soil, but instead I top it with this vermiculite. And vermiculite is good because it keeps the moisture in the block, which is essential, right, for germination. And it also prevents any mold from forming on top of the soil. I'm going to also lightly mist it. Vermiculite is super light. If you blow at it, it'll all blow away. So I'm just going to moisten it slightly. Then, as with any seedling, I'm going to cover it. So I'm putting my dome on it, and then it'll go downstairs on my grow tray to germinate. So there you have it, soil blocks. Thanks for joining and watching the video.